Welcome to the WHHI-TV Daily News. It's another great day in the Low Country. I'm Betsy McDaniel, and we'll get started today with a few headlines. Alec Murdaugh is facing another day in court before Judge Clifton Newman tomorrow, as the state charges for financial crimes against Murdaugh begin to make their way through the court system. It's not yet known whether Murdaugh himself will appear before Newman, the same judge that gave him the life sentences for killing his wife and son. He has already pleaded guilty to federal charges that he stole money from the estate of his housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield. Associates Corey Fleming and Russell Lafitte are also expected to appear in court tomorrow for their sentencing for their involvement in the financial schemes. They pleaded guilty to dozens of charges last month. Gasoline will likely be cheaper south of the South Carolina border for the next few weeks after Georgia Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency because of inflation, and he has abolished the taxes on gasoline in the state until the end of October. Kemp says runaway federal spending and policies that hamstring domestic energy production have taken money out of the pockets of the middle class, and he's giving that money back to them at the pump. That could lower Georgia gas prices by 25 to 30 cents a gallon over the next few weeks. Soon you may have the chance to spend the night where the criminals of yesteryear spent many a night. Columbia developers plan to renovate the old Beaufort County Jail on King Street into 9 condominiums called Justice Place over the next year or so. The Art Deco-style architecture of the old jail is protected by the National Register of Historic Places, so some of the old jail bars will be used for racks for pots and pans, and the old visitation center will become a breakfast bar. The developers envision turning the neighborhood around the jail into a dozen cottages and other workforce housing under the name Justice Park. What were your thoughts on the traffic over the bridges between Hilton Head and the mainland over the summer? Well, if you thought the numbers were a little bit higher than the last few years, you would be correct. The Island Packet reports the numbers say traffic volumes were a little higher than COVID years, but are still lower than pre-pandemic 2019. Between May 1st and the end of August, an average of just over 30,000 cars crossed the bridges daily onto the island, about 1,000 a day below the 2019 pre-pandemic peak. The highest number this year, nearly 36,000 on June 30th. We'll see how those numbers play into the latest Hilton Head study of traffic before the long-awaited approval of the 278 corridor project. The hurricanes that are blowing well out to sea are still having a deadly impact on our beaches. Last week, a 42-year-old Georgia man was pulled under by a rip current off Singleton Beach. Then this Monday afternoon, a 64-year-old vacationer from Huntington, Pennsylvania, drowned about 50 yards offshore near Hilton Head's Marriott Resort. Again, likely pulled under by the excessive rip currents from Hurricane Lee, even though that storm is hundreds of miles offshore. Before these two drownings, the last one on the island was back in 2017. And now that it is mostly just us residents and our neighbors for the fall, the town of Bluffton and a number of environmental groups are organizing the 34th annual Beach and River Sweep Saturday morning at Oyster Factory Park between 9 and 11:30 a.m. It's all part of the state's largest one-day volunteer litter cleanup of the beaches, marshes, and waterways. Coffee, snacks, and supplies like gloves, bags, sunscreen, and water will be provided for volunteers, so just come dressed in comfortable clothes and closed-toed shoes. You might even walk away with a t-shirt or a small gift from the town for helping clean it up. The media sources on your screen will have more on these and other stories, and we would love for you to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at WHHI-TV. And if you have an idea for a news story, we'd love to hear it, so drop us a line at news@WHHITV.com. And now here's what happened last night in Lowco with Justin Jarrett.
Hey, it's time for Last Night in the Lowco on WHHI, powered by LowcoSports.com. Region play is ramping up for South Carolina high school volleyball teams, and Wes Kerr was in the tank on Tuesday to see the May River Sharks take their shot at Region 7 4A frontrunner Lucy Beckham. The Sharks battled the Bengals tooth and nail, but Beckham pulled out a 28-26 and 27-25 wins in the first two sets to channel the momentum before May River bounced back for a 25-20 win in the third set. The Sharks used up too much trying to get an early edge, though, and the Bengals blasted them 25-15 in set 4 to close it out. Elsewhere in the region, Bluffton took down rival Hilton Head High and James Island swept Colleton County, while Battery Creek swept past North Charleston and Philip Simmons beat Beaufort in Region 8-3A. The Seahawks and Bengals swept to wins on the tennis court, where John Paul II and Beaufort Academy earned 5-4 wins over Lowco rivals. And it was a busy day on the golf course as Catherine Gavin fired a 38 to lead Hilton Head High to a 3-shot win over top-ranked May River in a 6-team meet at Port Royal's Barony course, though the Sharks were without star Claire Green. And Bridget Wilkie carded a scorching 33 on the Colleton River Nicholas course to lead Hilton Head Prep to a comfortable win over an improved JP2 team. For Lowco Sports and WHHI, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.
Thanks, Justin. Now let's take a look at the weather with Maria Soden.
Thanks, Betsy. Yep, so taking a look ahead, we are going to see a few more storms and continue to see rip current and coastal flooding warnings as Lee makes his way up the coast. But for the most part, we're supposed to have a really nice weekend weather-wise. The temperature's starting to go down. So taking a look at Thursday, it's going to be partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon, but should be clearing up by the evening. Hilton is going to have a high 84, a low of 74. Bluffton's going to have a high 85, a low of 72. And Beaufort's going to have a high 85 and a low of 72. The sunrise for Thursday is going to be at 7:06 and sunset's going to be at 7:31. Looking at the beach tides, high tide's going to be at 9:31 a.m. and low tide's going to be at 4:42 p.m. Taking a look into the rest of the week and into the weekend, Friday it's going to be sunny all day and clear into the evening. Great weather for football. Highs in the 80s, lows in the 70s. Come Saturday it's going to be sunny to partly cloudy with highs in the 80s and lows dropping into the upper 60s. And then come Sunday it's going to be sunny to partly cloudy with some late night thunder showers. Highs in the 80s, lows in the 70s. That's it for today. Let's head back to the desk.
Thanks, Maria. After a quick break, I'm going to hand it over to Bob Stevens, who's going to give us the latest out of the county tax assessor's office. Don't go away.